Ahoy, hoy, Jeff.
How do I get this thing so it doesn't do that?
You're live, my man. What's up? I'm presuming that you want to have your phone on silent.
Wait
Yeah,
a second. Hold on.
the joys of and this, folks. This is what happens behind the scenes. This is not being the podcast, so it's all good. Sort of, Jeff.
I'm ready.
Say hello to everyone watching right now.
Hey, aloha, everybody. This is Jeff Reinbold, another edition of the Jeff Reinbold Show, and it is game day. It is Thursday, and we have Thursday night football tonight. And Mike and I are going to break it all down for you. We're going to make our picks for the weekend, so you better pay attention, especially if you're betting at 888 Sport, the official betting partner of the National Football League in both the UK and Ireland. Mike's showing you the banners. That's a sponsor of ours. We're glad to bring you the show. Compliments of 888 Sport, the official gambling partner of the National Football League in Ireland and the UK.
18 plus. Be gamble aware. Big thanks to 888 Sport for the love. Jeff, this is going to go out in the Friday morning, so we're going to do our what is now our weekly tradition. 2 weeks in, we're going to give our Thursday pick and look like either geniuses or idiots. A bit like last week, we were idiots. But before we do that,
What?
we got to talk.
Whoa,
We got
whoa,
you
whoa.
know,
Don't, no, I'm not. If you want to call you, I made money last week on 888 Sport. So I'm
okay.
just telling you, you can take the shots if you want to, but I'm not taking a shot. All right. So I'm collecting. By the way, this is a double espresso that I'm having here this afternoon. All right. Because it's late in
Jeff,
game week. We got a
you
game coming up Saturday, and I'm ready. I got my game face on. Let's pick,
you've
Mike.
been busy, Jeff. I mean, you like for people that aren't aware, like obviously we chat a good bit. You've had a busy week. Like if we don't get time, I'll just do it now. Like obviously, wish you the very best this week. I know it's a big week for you guys, so the very best luck. Let's get straight into it. Before we do so, we announced the final part of your tour in Ireland this morning. We've got
Yeah.
Limerick, we've got
How,
Galway,
how
we've got
about it? We are
Cork,
hitting
Belfast, Dublin,
six
Derry.
sites. 6 cities are coming under the influence of this show. We're going to bring our show on the road live. We're going to have a blast in Dublin, right? In Limerick, in, you want to hit it? You want to hit it? You want to give them all? Yes. Cork. I've lost your voice all of a sudden here. I can't hear. I can't hear you.
And you know what that is? It's because I was in mute whenever you were talking. So I've been talking to you for like the last maybe minute, and I was like, why is he not coming? Now I realize this is why you're not coming back to me. So we've got Dublin, Cork, Belfast, Derry, and this morning, and Limerick, and this morning you announced, or your social media manager announced, Galway, and Galway is flying off the shelves. So definitely happy about that. You know, like I think it's going to be it. Jeff. I can't tell you how excited I am for it. Like I seen, for people wondering, we've got every venue announced apart from Cork. So for example, we're going to the Woolshed in Dublin. We're going to the Mac Theatre in Belfast. We're going to the Playhouse Theatre in Derry, right in the city centre in Derry. It's going to be great crack. I know there's a lot of NFL fans from even from Donegal as well. So make the short trip over the border and come and say hi. Um, Limerick is Cask nightclub, and the I think is it the Skeff Bar? The Skeff Bar. Somebody said on the PFI Discord earlier on, Jeff in the Skeff. So I like it. Cork going to be announced soon. Cork is flying. The highest selling event that we've ever done outside of Dublin ever. It's flying. It will sell out. Dublin's on the verge of selling out. Limerick's doing very well. I sound like Donald Trump here. All he's like, it's doing excellently well. It is. I can assure you it is. And because I was in mute, I'm just going to go back to what I said a second ago. I didn't mean like idiots. I meant like I didn't pick the Lions to win last week, is what I'm saying. So I'm interested. But Jeff, you must be buzzing to go to this tour, and you're also going to go to the UK as well.
Lions, right?
Did you pick the
And
Lions?
what did I tell you? Right? See, but you never listened to me. You know, there used to be when I first met you, right? When you were just getting started in this business, and I'd say something to you and you pay attention. Now you're a big shot, right? Now you're big shot, and you don't hear anything anymore. I said, take the under, correct? And the under hit for me a bunch. So you just got to understand. I'm not going to give you bad information, my friend. So trust me.
I trust you, Jeff. Now I'm gonna trust this. So this is our Friday. So if you're listening on the podcast Friday morning, if you're watching live on Thursday, get your questions in the comments. You got to go to YouTube and type it in the comments. Search Jeff Reinbold Show or Pro Football Ireland. It'll come up for you. Or reply to Jeff or me on Twitter or X, which is not it's now called. I'll get that by the end of the season, Jeff. We're gonna go in. We're gonna do like 20-ish minutes of our picks for this week. I'm really intrigued for this because we haven't talked about this, Jeff. We've got the Eagles against the Vikings Thursday Night Football now. If you're on the podcast, it's already Friday morning. I'm going to go all in and say that I think the Eagles beat the Vikings. The Vikings go 0-2, and we've got our storyline for next week. Is Kirk Cousins washed? Are they going to win the NFC North? Are they in big trouble? Yada, yada, yada. I think with the game being in Philly, it's massive, Jeff. Massive.
Let me just say this about, and it's interesting because in our podcast for Sky Sports, Inside the Huddle with Neil had, he called it the panic room, right? Or the teams that should be panicking right now. Nobody, right now, as they say in Italy, piano, just relax. All right, relax. You don't know what kind of football team you got till about the fourth game, and then you're starting to get an idea who you got. That's just the way it is now. So whether your team won or lost the first week, obviously you'd rather have them win. I get all that, but if you're the Steelers, for example, no need to panic, right? If you're the Giants, I'd be concerned, but no need to panic, right? I think what you're going to see in this game, Mike, is you're going to see a Philadelphia team that's frustrated right now on offense. And, give the Patriots credit. The Patriots did a great job against them. The Patriots made them work for everything, right? But I think that the combination of the pass rush that the Eagles have, the fact that they're at home, and the fact that I truly believe that offense will shake themselves out of it, their second half doldrums that they had up in New England. I like the Eagles in this one, and I agree with you about the fact that Minnesota probably is going to go to 0-2. I know Kirk Cousins, for whatever reason, seems to be like this lightning rod of criticism, and I don't know if that's really fair, because you look at the guy's numbers, and everybody says, well, he can't win the big one. Let me tell you something. It's more than just him, right? It's more than just him. They won, 10 games last year, and they were playing basically without a defense on the field. So, again, Vikings fans, don't despair if you go to 0-2, because you're playing a very good team in the Eagles, who's very, I think, embarrassed by the way they played in the second half up in New England, and they'll be very motivated to show their fans that particularly Jalen Hurts, that he is one of the elite quarterbacks in the league.
Bengals against the Ravens next. This game is in Cincinnati. Bengals 0-1. Joe Burrow doesn't show up last week, Jeff. Baltimore get the win against Houston in week 1, 1-0. A couple of big games in the AFC North this week. We'll talk about the Steelers-Browns, Monday Night Football in a bit. Intriguing game. I just feel like that the Bengals have to get a result. I feel like we don't know the full picture yet with the Ravens because of they played the Texans. But when you don't even have Mark Andrews on the field and you're beating the Texans like that, you have to think this game's going to be tight. I think the Bengals get it done. If they don't get it done, that's the biggest storyline coming from week 2. If the Bengals, who were in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and they're in their window with Burrow at the minute, go 0-2, that is a huge story. And you're right. And folks, listen to Inside the Huddle with Neil and Jeff as well there, because if you're going to break down those teams, it's great to hear. But it's so important this week, Jeff, and this is a key game to show that importance also.
Well, I think it's really an important game because of the fact that if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you don't want to go 0-2 in your division to start the season. It's tough enough to go 0-2 to start the season. It's really difficult when you lose 2 games against people in your division in the first 2 weeks. Cincinnati's got to bounce back. Now, here's the thing. We still don't know about Mark Andrews' health, right? If he plays, how well he's going to play, how healthy he'll be, will he play, all of that. And we know J.K. Dobbins is out. So that's another hole in that offense. Cincinnati, I cannot believe, with all the players that they have on offense, I cannot believe that they'll struggle again as bad as they did against the Browns. Now, again, give the Browns credit, right? Because they had a great game plan, and Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, the new defensive coordinator in Cleveland, I thought did a great job. But you're talking about one of the most explosive offenses in football. One of the reasons why I said last week, take the under early, is because a lot of these quarterbacks have not had any game experience with the guys they're playing with since last year. And that's a long time ago. You can say what you want. Well, they get practice work every day. It's practice work. The speed of practice and the speed of games are completely different. So I look for Cincinnati to bounce back. I know the Ravens will make it tough on them. I think this game will be in the mid 20s. I think it'll be a less than 5-point game. But I would be I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be surprised if Cincinnati doesn't come out and really play much, much better on offense, particularly.
Who Dey UK are going to love you, Jeff. Tip the Bengals as well. The boys are going to love you. If you want to go to the UK, Jeff is in Manchester, December the 2nd. Search band on the wall, Jeff Reinbold, Manchester. More UK dates coming when I'm allowed to leave the house and leave this den behind me. Jeff, Lions Seahawks is a hell of a game, because with the Lions and the expectation now going up against Seattle in Detroit, where Seattle lose their first game of the season in a manner that nobody really expected against the Rams. This is such a tasty matchup. I love it. 6 o'clock game, early window. Who's going to win?
Well, let's talk about the first thing about Seattle. Seattle did not play well defensively at all. Puka Nacua, right? And that's not one of the top rookies that we came out of training camp saying, oh, we knew about Zay Flowers. We knew about Bijan Robinson. We knew about some of those guys. This kid ends up having a career day, his first day, 10 catches. And, that really would shake me a little bit if I'm Seattle, because, and I'm taking nothing away from the kid. That's too many yards and too many receptions to give up to a rookie. Now, you're going to go into Detroit and you got to handle St. Brown. Reynolds has been good. I think you're going to see more touches for that rookie phenom. That running back they have is really, really a good player. The Lions are at home. It'll be in the dome, and the noise in there will be deafening. I think the Lions go to 2-0 and the Seahawks go to 0-2. And I think that, people will finally wake up. And I think that if you look at the last 11 games, I think the Lions are 9-2 in the last 11 games. So I don't know what more they have to do for people to say they're for real. And Jared Goff, who was thrown away by the Rams, and he's now within 44 completions of the all-time number of passes thrown without an interception. 44.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so he's protecting the ball, and when you do that and you can run the ball like they can run the ball, and you play defense and play as hard as the Lions play, it's a good combination. You're gonna win a lot of football games that way. Pete's guys, on the other hand, they got to. I heard DK Metcalf say, his effort wasn't very good in the opening game. How in the world can you not admit that you had an effort issue you're only playing 17 times. You haven't played in a year, right? You would think, that the entire team would be just ready to, knock the locker room doors down to go out and play. But that wasn't the case in Seattle. And Aaron Donald dominated inside. Well, they're gonna see it from the other side. Now you're gonna get Hutchinson this week, and he was outstanding in Kansas City. So I'm gonna take the Lions.
I'll move on to the next game, but I'm going to take the Lions as well, and I think it'll be interesting if Seattle goes to 0-2. Do get your questions in, folks, if you're watching this live. We'll get that in the second segment, which is on a podcast for people listening. And a happy Friday morning to those that are listening. Texans Colts, Jeff. I liked the way the Colts played last week. I liked seeing Anthony Richardson. I'm a big fan of what his potential is. This is going to be an interesting test for him going into Houston, and two teams that are 0-1 trying to get their first win of the season. I'm going to take the Colts in a close game. Intrigued to see how both rookies play.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see C.J. Stroud. Is he going to be better in his second start, because he looked like a rookie in his first start? And I would say the same thing about Richardson. Richardson did some really good things, particularly early in the game, broke down at critical times. I think when you look at these two teams, right, and that's, we're trying to pick a winner here. Look at the two teams, look at the rosters, right? And when you look at the rosters, you got to say that the Colts are a better football team. Now, that doesn't guarantee them winning, but you got to say if you went player for player, that if you were choosing a team like you're playing pickup on the street corner and you said, okay, give me a tight end or give me a wide receiver, what most of the people you pick would be Colts guys in this matchup. And so I'm gonna go with the better roster, and I'm gonna take the Colts. I think it's going to be close.
One game away from our Sky game, which we'll talk. I can't wait to talk about this in a minute. Bucks Bears. Game is in Tampa. The Bears have a disappointing start to the season last week against the Packers, where they don't win, they don't get near it at all. And would you call it a blowout's the question? Baker, and the Bucks going in to Minnesota and getting a close win. Do you know what, Jeff? Like any Ireland rugby fan at the minute, I love a good bandwagon train, and I'm all on board this Baker Mayfield bandwagon train. I want to see Baker play well this season. I want to see Baker be given a chance this season in a less competitive, in my opinion, NFC. I'll take the Bucks in this game, going 2-0 in the season, and really upsetting the apple cart a little. I think if they can get to 3 or 4 wins in the next month, they could be in with a chance at least of potentially getting this division if they keep it up. Now, who would have thought that would be a conversation a week ago? That's the biggest overreaction you've probably heard all year so far.
Well, I think let's look at the two teams. The Bucks still have a lot of good players, particularly on defense from that Super Bowl team. They've got to keep developing their offensive line. They got to run the football some, but they've got receivers. They've got Baker, if he protects the football and plays within the game. When I say in the game, plays within the scheme, lets the game come to him, he can be an effective enough quarterback. I'm really worried about the Bears. And I know Poles has been taking all kinds of shots this week for trades that he's made, guys that he hasn't drafted, all that stuff. But what concerns me is when you watch Chase Claypool play, he looked like he completely had no interest in being out there. And that's a guy that you gave up a lot of, draft capital for, and he's got to be a player for you. And right now he's not. And until he, I don't know if there's something wrong with him or whether he's dealing with some issues or whatever it is. When you put on the tape and you watch the tape, and I watch the tape, we get all the NFL games here, all 22. So I watch every game every week. And, you would have to seriously call him in and have a come to Jesus talk with him the way he played last week.
Come to Jesus talk. I love it.
Last week against the Packers. So Claypool's got to play. They got to get DJ Moore going. They got to get that offense cranking, because there's some questions still about Fields. There's questions about that offensive line, right? And Tampa Bay's got a good football team. And like I said, if Baker plays within himself and doesn't try and do too many things and all of that, they should handle the Bears.
We got to crank it up as well. It's nearly Jesus time for us, because we got to get through all these games in the next 12, 13 minutes. The game on Sky in the early window was the Jaguars against the Chiefs, the home opener for the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville before they head to London in 2 weeks for a 2-week stay for the first time ever. Jeff, this is a hell of a game because of the implications for the first time, arguably, in Patrick Mahomes' career in Kansas City. Can you imagine a situation on Monday morning with the Kansas City Chiefs 0-2? And the only reason I say that is because of how lethal, albeit against the opposition last week, how lethal that Jacksonville Jaguars offense looked. They will stay in that game. They will remain a factor in that game for all 4 quarters. And I'm taking the upset. I'm taking the Jags to beat the Chiefs on Sunday. I think the Chiefs go 1-2. Not like there's nothing to worry about for Chiefs fans. Bit of a bump in the road. They'll still win the Super Bowl in Vegas. But I think Trevor Lawrence is going to put out a statement win on Sunday. Is that even a bold statement now because they look that good?
Well, I think there's a couple things that we got to consider here. What's Kelsey's health, right? Is he going to be back with him? Was it a one-off for Kadarius Toney that he was going to be that bad? 3 crucial drops, 1 turned into a touchdown. I have faith in the Chiefs. I have faith in the Chiefs the way they're built. I have faith in the organization, the way they build that team. Chris Jones is going to be back now. Again, I don't know how many snaps he's going to be able to take, but as a defensive lineman, it's a little bit easier. You can roll him through in pass rush situations, let him do his thing. Um, I like the Jags. The Jags are well coached, extremely well coached on offense with Doug Peterson. But I believe that game against Detroit was a wake-up call to Kansas City. And I fully expect Patrick Mahomes to come into Jacksonville with a vengeance. And I think the Chiefs will win in what will be a close and I think high-scoring game.
Game of the week for you, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's a great game. I'm glad Sky has it. And I encourage everybody to, if you're a subscriber to Sky, to watch the game. If not, I'd subscribe because it's
get a game pass for the day, get a Sky pass for the day, whatever it's called, and listen to Jeff and Neil on Inside the Huddle next week. That game is on Sky. It's a great game as well. Falcons Packers. Jordan Love's official home debut in Lambeau Field. I have to give a shout out to our boy Dan Whelan as well. Week 2 in the NFL. Keeper let Dan, good man. But Jeff, this is an interesting time to play the Falcons team with Bijan, with Tyler Algier, with Desmond Ridder, just looking really, really fresh, especially in the run game. And like Tyler Algier, really, he was a story as well, not just Bijan last week. They've got a great run game, they've got a good offense, and I feel like they can make waves in this game. But Jordan Love's class. I'm rolling with the Packers. I'm going to say Packers go 2-0, and the Love hype train continues to roll through Lambeau Field.
Well, I think I agree with you that the Packers are going to win this game. I think the Packers will go to 2-0. Atlanta, I'm not sold on Atlanta's passing game. Desmond Ridder, again, I think Desmond Ridder's a serviceable quarterback right now in his career. He's got to take a step for their passing game to be effective. But boy, Bijan is a special player, and Algier, and they'll have to lean on the run game. And again, if that would be a good formula going into Lambeau. Take the crowd out of the game, run the ball, keep Jordan Love on the other sideline. What they cannot have happen, Atlanta, is gets into a track meet, a shootout, because they're not equipped for that. If they can keep it close and grind away and run the ball and keep first downs going, move the chains, they got a chance. But I don't think it's a great chance, so I'm going to take Green Bay.
Love it, my man. Love it, my man. Bills Raiders. Bills have a point to prove.
Huge game. Huge.
Massive game.
Huge football game. And I'm going to tell you something. We're 45 minutes from Buffalo, and you can feel it even up here.
Is there a lot of tension at the minute, Jeff?
Oh, I'm telling you. You talk about a place that is on the verge of panic, it's Buffalo. Josh Allen.
If they go 0-2 this week, do you think they'll melt down?
I think there's a possibility of a meltdown, right? Because here's the thing. You saw it on the sideline, right? You see Stephon Diggs on the sideline, right? After some of those interceptions, he's over there telling the quarterback to be smart, right? Josh Allen has got to understand you've got to protect the football. You cannot turn. He's responsible personally for 4 turnovers in the game, 3 interceptions and a fumble. He has more turnovers than any quarterback in the National Football League, I think, in the last 2 years. So you cannot play that way and put your defense at risk constantly like he did. They should have won the game in New York against the Jets, right? They should have, but should have sometimes don't come through. What comes through is execution and protecting the football, right? And see, he's got to understand, let the game come to him a little bit more, and they got to find a running game. Cook's a good running back, but when you see it 8 or 10 times, you can't establish a rhythm and you can't establish a run game. And I think they need a run game to help their defense and to help their quarterback, frankly. Right now, the people in Buffalo, the Buffalo fans, are nervous. Let me just say that. You listen to sports talk radio here, WGR, they are nervous. They are concerned, and they're not very happy right now. So there's a lot of angst in Buffalo. I'm going to take Buffalo to win, but the Raiders are better, and Buffalo better come to play.
The NFL season's back when Jeff eventually does his Raiders impression. So we'll see. It's not happening this week, no. Maybe you have to go 2-0.
I think that the Raiders are better. I think Garoppolo makes them better. I think they've got a ways to go yet, particularly.
But Jeff, if they won, if they go to Buffalo and win, and Jacksonville beat Kansas City, there's a serious opportunity there. I know it's Kansas City. I know it's Patrick Mahomes, and I know you got Justin Herbert, and who knows what will happen to Russell Wilson in the AFC West. But if they went to 2-0, and the unthinkable happened in Jacksonville this weekend, what an opportunity for Jimmy Garoppolo in this division. Huge.
Well, yeah, you can say that hypothetical situation. Yes, it is. But again, again, that's all stuff for guys like you and me to chew up and spit out and throw around a little bit, and it's fun at the bar and everybody's talking about all. But the reality of it is, it's the second game of the season, and this fan base, and this is where when the expectations get so high, and they realize they're in a Super Bowl window, and then every loss is multiplied, it's amplified, it's bigger than it really really is. And for Sean McDermott and his coaching staff, they've got to say, flush it, we're on to next week, we're just trying to get better this week. It's not a crusade to get to 1-1, right, like it is for the fans. They've got to just get better and take care of their own business.
Fred asking, hi Fred, are you near St. Catherine's, Jeff? He said it's a lovely part of the world.
Telling me we're just north of St. Catherine's, Fred. And Fred, Fred is an Irishman who came over here and played soccer, college soccer, at a school in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is just down the road.
I had no idea.
Yep.
I did not know that. And I know now.
He let me in on that one at the Dublin meetup last year.
And here's our lovely poll for saying Dublin, February the 1st. Link.tree/NFL Ireland. Right, Jeff, we've got like 8 games to go and we haven't done a second podcast yet. Titans, Chargers, big test for the Chargers. Let 36 points in last week, albeit 2 was awesome. I'm going to say Chargers go to Tennessee, get the win, put a statement win out and go to 1-1. What do you think?
I think Tennessee at home. I like Tennessee. I like Tennessee's toughness. Henry did not see the ball very much last week, but I'm going to tell you something. They're a good football team, and they're a tough football team, and a resilient football team, and a well-coached football team. I can't say those same things right now about the LA Chargers after what I watched on film, right? LA is talented at all 3 levels, but their defense gave up more yards than any defense in the air in Brandon Staley's coaching career, right? Tua had the 4th best opening day of all time. And granted, that was the Dolphins and that track team that they have. But I'm going to tell you something. Tennessee is a good football team, and they're extremely well coached, and they're tough, and they're at home. I'm going to take Tennessee.
Now, you're going to laugh at me here. I love this game. Levi South, the Rams, the Niners. After how Matthew Stafford, Williams, and Pacoa played last week, never mind Tutu. I know they're playing the Niners. I know the Niners were incredible last week. But I think this could be a wee bit closer. I think the Niners will win. But as a neutral, I'd love to see the Rams continue to play the sort of football they did last week and get down the field. Because if they do long-term this season, they've got a decent team where a lot of people thought they wouldn't have. They've got issues, obviously, with Aaron Donald and the future and all that mixed into it. I want to see a good game. This is a former NFC Championship game 2 years ago in Levi's South, as they all call it down there. What's your thoughts this weekend, Jeff?
I think that the 49ers will win. I think the 49ers are a really, really good football team. They might be right now the best football team in the National Football League. So, we know what the Rams are. Cooper Kupp's not going to play. Obviously, Stafford will make his throws. He'll do some of those things. But here it is, Mike. This is a whole nother animal they're playing against on defense. That 49er defense is as good as I can remember a 49ers defense being. And I'm going all the way back, to when Robert Saleh was there, and, everybody was talking about how great their front 4 was and all that. They've got better depth now. They're better, I think, in the secondary now. They still got the linebackers that can run all over the field. This is a different defense than the Rams have played. And I'm going to take the 49ers to win this and go to 2-0.
Game of the week, my man. Game of the week. Cardinals, Giants. Who you got?
Oof.
This game is in Arizona. I don't know. Giants, maybe?
If you're the Giants, now another team that would have to say I've got concerns is the Giants, because the thing that we wanted to see out of the Giants, the thing that we thought we would see out of the Giants, the thing that the Giants fans need to see is they need that offensive line to show that they can run the ball and they can protect their quarterback. Because every time that the Cowboys lined up, they were getting up the field and getting pressure. They were destroyed the run game vertically, and Micah Parsons. It was interesting. I'm gonna diagram this. I think on my Twitter account and use my telestrator to show just the impact that Micah Parsons had in the game, because they would just match him up with whoever they wanted in pass downs, and if he didn't get help, the guard particularly had no chance, and I mean no chance of blocking him. So for for Neal and that whole offensive line in New York, it's time to stick your feet in the ground and protect your quarterback, establish a running game, be the physical team that we thought you'd be. But it wasn't just one phase in New York. It was all three phases that got dominated. And so this is a huge, huge game. And the doctor couldn't have given the Giants a better prescription to get healthy than go play the Cardinals, because the Cardinals are not a very good football team. And they're in rebuild mode. And they did go out and they hung around for a while against, the Commanders. But, I just don't feel like when you look at that roster that they're anywhere close enough, to be in a team that can beat the New York Giants.
I can't wait to sit and listen with you in a pub in Galway on a Friday night, listen to this analysis with a Guinness, Jeff. I can't wait. It's going to be good. Coming to you soon. Cowboys Jets is on Sky this week, 9:25 Ireland UK time. Looking forward to that. That game is only on Sky. You have to get Game Pass for all the other games, apart from the 6 p.m. Chiefs Jaguars game. Zach Wilson, obviously the Rogerless Jets. Jeff, look, I'll make it short and sweet so you can give your analysis. The Cowboys are a very, very good football team. I think they showed their class last week to an extent against the Giants. So bring it on. Bring it on. I think the Cowboys will win this game comfortably. But I hope it's half decent for at least a couple of quarters.
Well, you know what? One of our most loyal listeners is an Irishman, Fred Flunk, who listens to every show every week, and he is a tremendous Cowboy fan, and he's got to be just excited about what he saw in New York last week on the road against an in-division rival. I think this is going to be a key game for the Cowboys, because I don't see the Cowboys dominating in all three phases like they did last week. I think they can dominate in the defensive aspect of it. Now, how is Dak going to play? Dak was very pedestrian last week, and for the Cowboys to really make a dent this year, for them to make a Super Bowl run, to win the division, to do the things that they've got in front of them, he's going to have to play well. And this is a game where we're going to start to measure him a little bit, because he's going to get put in some situations where he can't just hand the ball off anymore. He's going to have to make plays with his arm. And, after you watching that game last week, he's got to come a ways. But I still think Dallas is one of the elite teams in the NFC, and I'll take the Cowboys.
We got 4 more games, and we're going to get some questions in the second podcast. Broncos Commanders, literally breaking news as we were here. Chase Young, full participant in practice for the Commanders today. Big result for them. Look, Jeff, I'm picking the Broncos, man. The Broncos are winning this game on Sunday. They have to win a bloody game. If they're not going to beat the Commanders at home, then what are we doing here? 1-1 Broncos, and just don't say the Commanders now, yeah? Please.
Well, I was a little bit encouraged by what we saw some out of Russell Wilson. There were some evidences or examples of the fact that, he was making throws. He looked much better in the pocket. He looked more in control of the offense. The question I have right now with the Broncos is, can they get the ball down the field? They've got better receiver group than they've shown. I think their defense is going to be fine. They're a team that they're going to have to get better as the season wears on. But I think this is one I'll take the Broncos in.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Right, 3 more games. Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins, Jeff. Sunday Night Football. The game is in, I'm nearly going to say it's in New England. Is it? Yeah, it's in New England. So the Patriots get 2 home games in a row to start the season off. To a masterclass. Game over at the half. Miami.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that, because here's the thing. Look at the game last week. where if you were a Dolphin fan or you're the general manager of the Dolphins or whatever, where would you say you really did not play very well? You got to win. Yes, you did. You threw for a ton of yards. You got all that stuff happened
Defense.
defensively and against the run, right?
And Vic did not look happy at the end of that game.
Oh no, and
He
you know that he's not happy. I mean, he's happy he won, but he's not happy with his defense's performance. And I'm sure that the Patriots are going to come out, and you're going to get they're going to get a ton of Ramondre Stevenson. They're going to get a ton of Zeke Elliott, and the Patriots know they've got to get some balance in the offense. And Kendrick Bourne's going to have a big day for they just can't get in a match them score for score game against the Dolphins because they can't play that game. But if they can grind it against the Dolphins, if they can go old school against the Dolphins, if they can go full Bill Belichick against the Dolphins, then they got a chance. And we're talking about a master at taking players away. One of the things that Belichick has done better than anybody since he was a defensive coordinator, back in the day for Parcells, was take the other team's best player away, right? And who's the other team's best player? Is Tyreek Hill. He's gonna get a snoot full of double team all day long, and they're gonna force Tua to go to other threats, right? So I think that this is a game that the Dolphins should win, but I think it's a game that Miami's going to make them work real hard to win.
Right, two quick ones because we do have to bounce to start doing questions. Pan Saints is on Sky Sports Mix and Game Pass. Double bill Monday Night Football, Tuesday morning football for us, and the Steelers Browns. Let's double team on this one. I'm going to take the Saints. I was impressed with the way that the Saints got over the line last week against Tennessee, Jeff, and I think this is a huge game on Monday night for the Steelers. They have to win this game or else their seasons. I don't want to say their season's over in week 2, but it's very hard to crawl back in their position when Kenny's losing confidence at 0-2 in the AFC North when you've already lost to a divisional rival. I'm going to say the Saints win. I'm going to say the Steelers get over the line. Cam Hayward out for 8 weeks. Deontay Johnson's week to week. He'll not be playing on Sunday or on Monday. What's your thoughts on these two games, Jeffrey?
I like exactly what you called. I was impressed with Derek Carr. Started off, horribly, struggled. There's a great clip of him asking the coach to call the deep ball one more time because he felt that he could hit it, and he did hit it late in the game, which really put him over the top. I think they've got a good football team, good defense. It's going to be a physical game, but I'll take the Saints. And again, I agree with you. The Steelers are better than they played last week. Mike Tomlin is a master at getting the most out of his players. This has been a tough week in Pittsburgh in practice. They're they're working hard to correct all those things. Kenny Pickett has got to settle down in the pocket. They got to protect him better, and they got to run the football. Najee's got to have a good day, but I think the Steelers will win also.
Yeah, really didn't have a run game last week. That's going to be key to that game. So let's see what happens with Najee and the guys this week. Big shout out to Tip the Bengals who just joined the stream right now, and he's thinking this boy's talking about the Steelers again. Yes, I am. Let's end that section of the podcast and start a new audio file very quickly. 38 minutes in at 9:40. 3, 2, 1. For people watching live going, what is he at? Here we go. Jeff Reinbold Show. Jeff, do you want to answer some questions on this Friday morning, my man? I had a week.
Absolutely. Anytime we talk ball with the fans, I'm loving it. So let's go. Let's get to the questions. Hey, wait a second now. I'm going to do this. When I'm taking questions, I'm going to put my favorite baseball team hat on right here. San Francisco Giants. And we are sponsored by 888 Sports, the official betting partner of the National Football League in both the UK and Ireland. David Jackson's got a question. Do you think real glass is a good change for the player? Real grass?
Real grass. And I don't want to jump in here because I feel like I'll add some relevant news to this today. So David's saying, is real grass a good change for the players? I was literally sitting from here to my window from Justin Jefferson after a game in London where he said he preferred to play in real grass. Today was a great day for the NFL in the UK. We haven't even mentioned it. Sorry, Thursday was, Jeff, where it was that they've announced that Tottenham is being extended to 2029, 2030. It's fantastic. I love the Tottenham Stadium, but you've seen not just in Tottenham, but different stadiums that the players are not a fan of turf or of artificial turf. What's your thoughts? Because, I mean, you coach. What's it like in Hamilton? Is it artificial or is it real, or can you not say anything at
No,
this moment in time?
we're on artificial surface, much like everybody else in the National Football League. And it's let's be honest with you, it's not because it's better for the players. It's because economically it's better for the owners, right? As opposed to taking care of a grass field. Grass field requires a tremendous amount of maintenance, right? They're hard to take care of. Everybody, it's here's kind of where this whole thing is coming from. David Bakhtiari, after Rodgers got hurt, tweeted out that he called out the NFL on the fact that the NFL Players Association has been trying to get artificial surfaces labeled as hazardous to their workplace, right? And they want to play on grass, but the owners, because it's not economically viable for them, or it's harder for them, they say no. And well, let me just say this: the bottom line is the bottom line. There are more injuries today, especially lower leg injuries. In when everybody played on grass, you hardly ever saw an Achilles tendon injury, a rupture. A number of concussions was much less because of the whiplash as the player hits the hard surface with his head, as opposed to the grass field. The players would love to play on grass. I've known free agents who will select a landing site in free agency based upon the fact that they practice and play on grass, because it adds length to your career. But again, until the league mandates it, it's here to stay. Now, what's interesting, Michael, and this is what one of the issues the players are having, is FIFA will not allow the World Cup to be played on AstroTurf, right? And so
That is so controversial, Jeff,
well, I'm
because
telling you, that's what you think. Do you think that's lost on the players? The players know that, right? And so these stadiums are going to have to be outfitted with grass surfaces when the World Cup comes to the United States, right? And so
yeah.
the players are looking at that and going, wait a second now. You'll do it for the soccer guys, but you won't do it for your own players, right? Your own employees. And I understand their frustration, but I also understand the owner's position too. And so it's a situation that's going to continue to be a hot button topic.
888 Sports, the official betting partner of the NFL UK Ireland. Thank you to them, folks. We're going to keep harping on about that because we would not have a tour, everything going on. This is a game changer for this brand. Pro Football Ireland, Jeff, is 11 months old, or about 10 and a half months old. That is insane. Obviously, thank you, and we'll have a whole 1 year anniversary and celebrate that. It's very, very soon. But for people listening on the podcast, especially people in Ireland, people in the UK, Jeff's coming to Manchester December the 2nd. Jeff is coming to Belfast, Dublin, Derry, Cork, Limerick, Galway. We announced Galway on Thursday morning. Jeff's already sold 20 tickets in 24 hours for that. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Like we're taking it around. We're going to take it rural. You can check out Linktree, linktr.ee/NFL Ireland, or literally just search Jeff Reinbold Galway or whatever, or hit us up on social media. We'll give you the link. Jeff is going to sell out in Cork. It's going to sell out in Derry. We're really, really pumped. We've got loads of questions, so I'll shut up. John Murray. John, you've been waiting a while on this question. I'm sorry, mate. Who do you think will have a better season, Wilson and the Jets or Baker and the Bucks? Both teams have weapons in offense and defense, but both fall short of quarterback. Who out of the both quarterbacks do you think will have the better season, and why? Jeff, I have to say the Jets, just because of what they have around them in comparison to the Bucks.
Well, I think this is a great question, and when you say you got to qualify it a little bit more than that to me, and able for me to answer that question honestly, right, with some conviction. Because what do you mean a better season? Their team is going to win more games, or the guy's going to have a better individual?
I'd say, Jeff, probably, just who was further this season.
I think the Jets have a better football team, top to bottom, right? I think the Jets play in a tougher division, top to bottom, than Tampa Bay does. I think Baker is a hot and cold. He's a streak shooter. Now, again, how much mentoring are we going to see by Aaron Rodgers to this young guy, right? And I think there's a lot of things that if the offensive staff with the Jets can retool their philosophy, because they've got to become a run first team. They've got to get the ball in Bryce Hall's hands, right? They got Dalvin Cook, who's a tremendous threat out of the backfield, short passing game. Let it get out of their hands as fast as they can get it out of field. Excuse me, out of Wilson's hands, and give the kid things he can do. Right? He's not Aaron Rodgers, but they got to develop an offense based on what he can do best. I think that in the end, unless something else cataclysmic happens, New York will have a better one-loss record than Tampa Bay will, even though they play in a better division. Now, there's no guarantees either way, but that's just how I feel.
We'll have a few questions. We'll go to like what, 55, 56, Jeff? You happy enough with that? Or do you care?
Now, I'm not taking any more questions on Mike until these people start telling us where they're from.
You know where they're from. There's a heap of them from the UK and Ireland here. We've got Fred, who's had this question in since 9:16 p.m. So we'll get back into it. Will McCarthy put a stamp on the Cowboys offense this weekend? I feel like he did last weekend. I know like that the defensive performance, Jeff, really overshadowed it, but McCarthy was talking at length on NBC last Sunday night about how happy he was to be back in charge of that, and he was very happy at the half.
Well, I think, again, what does that mean to put his stamp on it, right? I think that what I hope that I see out of the Cowboys offense, if I'm a Cowboy fan, is I think they got to run the football. I want to see Pollard really get the ball in his hands. I want to see Deuce get the ball in his hands. They are loaded outside at wide receiver. And what I need to see out of Dak is that he takes care of the football, number one, and that he understands that he doesn't have to make every play. He just has to make the plays that he has an opportunity to make. I would like to see that run game improve, because the play action game that it comes off of it would really help Dak Prescott, in my opinion.
Okay, I like it. Somebody else just bought tickets for Galway as we speak. The power of the internet, Jeff. I'm loving it, man.
And I'll tell you what, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to go all Aaron Rodgers on you right now, right?
Oh?
Right? Did you see his interview with John McEnroe?
I didn't. I seen his Instagram post. Or is it still called Instagram? Because why Twitter's called X now, or what's?
Well, listen. Don't wander on me. It's like you got ADD. You're wandering all over the place here.
I think I might have ADD. Genuine. Anyway, back to the conversation.
All right, well, here, let me say this. Aaron got on that interview with John McEnroe, and John McEnroe started to say, what happens if it doesn't go good, and and Aaron stopped him in his tracks, and he said, "I don't think that way. I think we're going to have success. I think we're going to win the Super Bowl, and we're going to speak it into existence. So don't you speak into existence negative things, right?" And I think that's really, really important, that that we're going to sell out all 6 shows, right?
Yeah, we are.
We are. I need you to say that with. We're
going to sell out all 6 shows. Do you know why? Because people in Ireland, and people like
people in Ireland love football. They love football. And we're going to bring them football to every corner of the Emerald Isle. We're invading the whole aisle, Mike. The whole aisle. The whole aisle. We're invading all of it.
I feel like, Jeff, that we're 48 minutes into the show, and we're
my
good 8 minutes
double espresso has kicked in, and now you got me going.
Can people from Ireland let me know, are we okay to call it the Invasion Tour? Can we do that? I'm joking. Right, anyway. Moving on. Jeff's coming to Ireland anyway.
It's going to be, I'm telling you, it's going to be the hottest T-shirt selling in February. I might go full Ric Flair right now, right? Woo! I might go full Ric Flair. We're going to sell the hottest T-shirt in Ireland, and it's going to be the Ireland Invasion Tour with our tour dates on the back, where we were. You can say you were there, right? And you know what, Mike? Half of the profits, you know where they're going to go straight to?
My Las Vegas Applebee's fund the week after. I'm joking.
No.
Charity.
No.
Charity.
They're going to go to Irish football, right? American Football Ireland will get half of the proceeds for every sale of those T-shirts, so that kids can have an opportunity to play that may not have an opportunity to play right now.
I'm up for that, and I'm gutted because this actually goes into a good transition, Jeff, a good segue, because somebody just put a comment in. Next weekend, Rod Woodson's coming to Ireland, and I have to go to my brother-in-law's stag do in Prague. I know it's awful. It's such a bad moment for me. Like oh God, we're gonna have to go live next Thursday and get everything done very quickly next Thursday and be like, bye everyone for the week. Mickey Brady was on the hi Mickey, how's the form? What's the crack board?
Mickey, my man, that's what we're looking for. Hold that on the screen so everybody can see Mickey Brady's thing. I'm from Newry, Ireland. We need to know where you're from, right?
But so Mickey was at the game on Sunday. Before I even read the comment, it was on the Steelers Ireland channel. Like Mickey, if you've only found this stuff now, man, follow us at NFL Ireland, at Steelers Ireland. Just home from Pittsburgh, went to the game Sunday. A tough watch. We're still optimistic we'll have a good season if we stop running sweeps and run the ball with Najee and Jalen Warren. Mickey, if I see you in Dublin, I will give you one of these coffee holders because I can't use it in work because the questions ensue. So I've got 15 of them at the back. Jeff, it's an interesting point, but will we go to Newry as well? Is that on the cards?
I'm with Mickey. I feel exactly the same way. They have to run the football. They have to get back to being the Steelers, right, and do what they do best. All right. Rory Fitzgerald comes at us with this one, the Inundation Tour. Maybe you're welcome back again and again and again. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't.
Inundation. He means he wants you back every year, basically, which will happen.
Well, we'll just keep invading. How about that?
Well. Oh dear. Right. We've got 5 questions on X/Twitter, and then we got to record something else off screen. So we got to bounce. Can I just, before we do this, guys, wish everyone have a great week 2 weekend. We're going to have a great weekend. Looking forward to week 2. Some great games. First one is from John Murray, who is from Dublin as well. It's called Love Irish lads here tonight. That was the question about Baker in the box. Sorry, John. We've already answered that. Stephen from Jordanstown, up the Polytech. Are the Chargers always going to charge? Interception in end zone and guy tries to run out, gets the 5-yard line. 5 plays later, touchdown Miami. If he kneels 20 yards, plenty of room. They just can't help themselves. The answer, Jeff? Yes.
Well, what did we say? What did we say about the Chargers before the season started? We said we recognize they're a talented football team. They've been talented before, many times over the history of the franchise, and they've never actualized that talent. Right? This is one of the teams that's never won a Super Bowl, and when you look at this team, they are way too good to give up the amount of yards they gave up, and a lot of that comes down to mental discipline and mental toughness, not physical toughness. So until they become a mentally tougher, more tuned in, more resilient team, I think you're going to see, you call it, will the Chargers always charge? If that's what you mean by making mistakes at critical times, you pick a ball off in the end zone, unless you know you can get it out past the 20, take a knee and get the ball off your goal line, right? And he makes a great point about 5 plays later, he tackled inside the 10, excuse me, and about five plays later, the Dolphins have a touchdown, right? There's a thing called complementary football, right, that great football teams do, and that's what we're talking about.
David Jackson Limerick, the Ohana tour. Does he mean like?
You know what that means? That's a great word. I love it. It means the family tour, right?
I think Mickey's referring to. So Mickey sent people on the podcast that hopefully see you in Dublin. There's a Steelers watch party. I can't say how many people. I'm not allowed to say it. A lot of people are going to it. Mickey, if you're in Newry, Jeff's in Belfast on I should know this, the Mac Theatre, the 30th of January. Just literally search the Mac Theatre Belfast. Get everyone down to Belfast. Get the Newry boys. We might do something in Dundalk very soon. Probably not this year. My wife will divorce me if I do. Also, it's too close to Belfast. Anywho, right, two more questions, then we'll get out of here. Kev from London says, something for the Giants to cling to? How far are we from being relevant? Jeff, I think they're a while off that. Is that bad, or is that me being in trouble?
Well, the thing that the Giants, the only thing that's good coming out of that first game, in my mind, if I'm a Giants fan or coach or player or anywhere, is that we get to play again in 7 days. That's the only good thing, because the only way to get the stink of one of those kind of losses, and anybody that's played, anybody that's coached has gone through that, and the only way to get the stink off of you when you play as poorly as they did is to play again, and you got to play it off of you. You got to work it off of you. You got to you got to hang together. And this is now where most of the time you will see the greatest improvement in a football team over the course of a season between week 1 and week 2. And certainly for the Giants, that's got to be a focus this week. We just have to be better.
Right. Finally, we done this last week. We're going to do this week. I want a bold prediction, my man, ahead of this week. I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence has got 4 passing touchdowns. Calvin Ridley's got 2 of them. Ridley goes over 120 yards on Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs. My man, I don't want a San Francisco Giants bold prediction. Give me a bold prediction.
Well, I think I'll go right back to that game that you're talking about, right? I think there'll be over 60 points scored in that game total, right? And I think there could be as many as 7 touchdown passes between the 2 quarterbacks. I think that's the kind of game we're as we say as they used to say in Texas, I think that's the kind of game we're fixing to see.
I was literally Googling who you're playing this week. Good luck against the Blue Bombers. Winnipeg this weekend. Jeff, thank you so much. I hope you win that game Saturday at 9 o'clock. There's no excuse. CFL Plus. Google it. Watch Jeff. Jeff, thank you for taking the time. I know you're very, very busy. People appreciate this. Thanks to everyone for coming on the live comments. If you want to interact with the show at any point, if we're live, your best bet is YouTube. Search Jeff Reinbold Show or search Pro Football Ireland. Your comments will show up on the screen if you do that. We appreciate everybody that's going to these events. Appreciate 888 as well. Jeff, do you want to show us out, my man?
Hey, this is Jeff Reinbold for the Jeff Reinbold Show, brought to you by 888 Sport, the official betting sponsor of the National Football League in both the UK and Ireland. And we are out. Aloha.
Have a weekend, folks. Have a weekend. Week 2, baby.